Hello, viewers. We are back again with another episode after a gap. And today we will do an episode which is going to be a little different. We have been talking about different types of ways to live. We have met a vampire, we've talked to Wiccans, we have met people who have encountered ghostly experiences and so forth and so on. But today we are going to talk to our guest here who will narrate an incident which she experienced very, very closely and is still affected by it. And let's hear her out. Welcome to Ghost Incorporated. How are you?
Thank you so much, Ghosts Incorporated, and it is always a pleasure to be associated with this channel and get different perspectives and different ideas of life and beyond.
Maya, I forgot to mention your name, so apologies. So we have today Maya, who's been on one of the most intriguing episodes that we have done. So today Maya is going to share a different kind of experience, but nevertheless a little ghostly.
Yes, of course. And this is ideally, I really wanted to come and share this experience with all the viewers and all the listeners, because we usually associate the supernatural with that spooky feeling and that scary jump, that horror scream. And we are kind of conditioned to believe that everything supernatural is a little on the darker side, and how we kind of associate very ordinary things with the supernatural. Anything that is ordinary but appears to be a little different, slightly different, we kind of associate it with the supernatural and take it on the darker side. And this incident is on the lighter note. It's I don't want to share what kind of an incident it is. Let it slowly unfold. But this will make all of us understand that everything is not what it appears to be. So that appearance versus reality. So it was this episode which happened with me, this experience of mine. It happened quite a few years back, when I was staying at a different house, and I am into a lot of movie binging, this late night binge watch. So it was a weekend, I remember, and weekends are absolutely reserved for cinema. So we used to, me and my husband, we used to watch a lot of movies, and it often used to be very late at night. So it was that kind of a night. It was a Saturday night, I remember, and we were watching a movie together. And when the movie ended, I still remember it was exactly 2:55. Now, why I remember it was exactly 2:55? Because I looked at the watch, the clock, basically, the wall clock, and I was telling him that, if we wait for another half an hour, we could just go drive around the town, have some, wonderful, we can experience the dawn in the Maidan or something, and then have steaming hot kachoris and jalebis and tea from Sharma's and come back. So, and he was saying that you have completely lost your mind, just let's go to sleep. So I was actually getting ready to definitely head off to get some sleep. And the next day being a Sunday, I was kind of assured that I don't need to wake up very early. So I went to the washroom, and after I came back, I was looking for the towel to dry my hands, and the towel was there in the balcony. So what happened was I went to the balcony,
Mhm.
and because I love nature a lot, and I am a kind of a person who gets attracted, or I kind of receive a lot of vibes. So I was just standing there, and I was witnessing the silence of the night, and it's a lovely feeling, the silence of the night.
Yes, of course.
So yeah, it's a lovely feeling. So, and it was that time, so by that time it was around 3:05 or something. uh, and it was the time of the transition, maybe, maybe after 1 hour the dawn will appear, and the skies uh, kind of starts to get lighter a little bit. So I was just standing there, and just diagonally, uh, opposite to my house was on the second floor. The flat that I was living on, the apartment, was on the second floor.
Okay.
And just diagonally opposite, there was this house of a very renowned Bengali singer of the yesteryears. And his house was in a dilapidated state. No one was living there. His children were not living in that house, and it was kind of a the property was associated with some sort of dispute or something. So what happens to the old houses, basically the peepal tree and the banyan tree, they had covered it uh, almost, and the garden was no more a garden, it was a wilderness. And it appeared to look like as if it was haunted. I always used to stare at that house and wondered that, is it the house alone, or does it hold some memories, or um, people
Yes,
associated with the memories.
yes, Maya.
So
I mean, every house has its own history and its own
yes,
vibes, and just so many incidents, happiness, some
true,
sadness, deaths, births.
absolutely,
So it has its own aura, every house, and every time
true,
a house is torn down, I feel a little sad because we lose a little bit of history, or we lose a little bit of somebody else's life lived there.
yes, yes, absolutely. And the house is such a silent witness to everything happening around, so many lives, so many people associated with the house. So I was looking at the house, and I was lost in the thoughts, and I had no clue of the time. So I was just staring. Suddenly, all of a sudden, uh, I looked down on the road. It was the empty road just below my house, and near the building, it was an empty road. And I suddenly looked down, and just in front of my building, I saw a figure,
Okay.
absolutely clad in white, and it was a woman, white hair, wearing a white sari. She was standing, but her hands were moving. And I was really scared, like very scared.
So she was on the road in between the two houses, the supposedly
No,
haunted one and your house.
no, no, not really. My building was just at the end of the road,
Okay.
and the supposedly haunted house was just diagonally opposite. And she
Okay.
was standing right in front of my building, just
Okay.
almost next to the gate of our building.
Mm.
And there were trees down there, and she was just standing there, near the trees, near the
Oh.
plants. Okay, there were many plants and
Mm.
bushes and trees. So she was just standing there. And the moment I saw her, because it was all dark, and there were dogs also in the streets. No one was barking, nothing of that sort. It was absolutely silent, and she was standing there. She wasn't moving as such, but her hands were moving. And I could see all of a sudden, I mean, I was so choked. I felt choked with that fear, that horror, and that it scared me so much.
What scared
And
you? The white figure and
the white figure, yes,
okay,
because I thought that I was certain that it's a spirit, because
okay.
who else would be there on the road at that point of time?
Mhm.
And what would a human do? So I absolutely realized that it's definitely some kind of a spirit. And because I have had experiences earlier as well where I could feel the presence of people who have probably crossed the bridge, and I don't know, but I feel like I can associate, or not associate, but I can feel their presence somehow. So that's the reason why I felt. But then I'm very scared also. It's not that I am not scared and I'm very eager to associate, but I feel very scared. So I was extremely scared, and maybe after, say, 2-3 minutes or so, I screamed. I don't know whose name I took or what I
Mm.
said, but I remember screaming because my husband immediately rushed to me and asked what happened. And you won't believe what happened after that.
What?
The figure
Mm.
down there who was standing, the lady in white, she also started screaming.
Oh,
And, and she looked up. And she looked up and she was screaming, of course, in Bengali. And she was saying, "Hey, Kire!" And why are you screaming? So in Bengali. And I was like, what's going on? How can a ghost retort like that? I mean, I was still very confident that she's definitely not a human. She's definitely a spirit.
which human
And
goes down? I mean,
yeah,
is up and about at that time in the morning.
yeah. And I was like, who are you? Who are you? And I was screaming, and I really don't know what I was saying, but she was also screaming. And then she literally fell down on the road. And my husband was like, this is nicher dida, nicher flatted dida. And I was like, it can't be nicher flatted dida. And my husband like, you just come down with me. And just we ran. We ran down and we actually saw it was nicher flatted dida.
Oh my God.
And she was there on the road, and we were scared because she had fallen down and she had lost her consciousness literally. And then my husband, we carried her literally back to her flat. The door was
What
open.
about, I mean, she used to live alone?
No, no, no. She used to live with her widowed daughter-in-law and her granddaughter. But the door of her flat was open. It was ajar.
My
And
God.
we kind of took her inside, and we called the auntie who was there. And she was sleeping. Of course, she was so puzzled because it takes some time to
Register.
realize what's going
Yes.
on. Yeah. And she came running and said, what happened? What have you done to her? And I was like, I didn't do anything. She was there. I mean, why was she there on the road? And then after quite some time, she regained her consciousness after giving her some water and all that. She told us that আমি সব গাছ পুঁতেছি নিচের, সেই গাছের ফুল সবাই চুরি করে নিয়ে চলে যায় সকাল বেলায়। তাই আমি ফুল তুলতে গেছিলাম। And look at this girl, she was screaming, ভূত ভূত ভূত। আমি কি ভূত? আমি কি ভূত? ওই তো আমাকে ভয় দেখিয়ে দিল। And I
So,
was,
which in short means that she had gone down before anybody else could pick the flowers from the plants that she had
yes,
actually planted,
planted. Yes.
and you actually scared her as well.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, what a commotion, and what I mean,
Yeah,
a big confusion
absolutely.
there.
Big, a huge confusion. And she was just not ready to forgive me. And she has still not forgiven me.
Oh
Even
dear.
today. Even today, like so many years have passed. I think almost it this dates back to 8 years. 8 years back this happened. And even today she's like, no, তুই আমার চোখের সামনে থেকে চলে যা, আমি তোকে দেখতেই চাই না, তুই তো আমাকে মারতে গেছিলি, তুই
Oh,
তো আমাকে মেরেই ফেলতি আরেকটু হলে, ওরকম জোরে কেউ চিৎকার করে, আমি বুড়ো মানুষ, আমার যদি কিছু হয়ে যেত। And actually her pressure had shot up. The
oh,
doctor had to come, she had to be hospitalized the following morning, and I was so guilty. I
must
was
have
so
been very
upset,
upsetting. Yeah.
very upsetting, and I
So
was
it
so
turned into a
scared.
major incident actually.
Yes, but at the same time, nobody could, ignore the funny part that I had actually scared a supposed ghost because I thought that she was one. And when I shouted, the ghost also shouted back, and then I realized that no, she's an absolute human, flesh and blood human.
So
And
maybe, we can stop for a second, Maya, and think maybe when we get scared of spirits or so-called spirits, we actually scare them as well, perhaps, because uh,
absolutely,
we could think of it that way, that we are actually coexisting. Like some of us are scared of,
absolutely.
things like lizards. I am. So when we stamp at it, I'm sure it's not a game for the little being. I mean, that is also
Huh.
scared. Yeah.
Yes. To them,
So
we appear to be monsters, maybe, and it's
absolutely.
it's it's just like you and me
Mm,
facing. If we are standing just opposite to each other, your right hand will appear to be on my left.
true.
So that's what the perspective of life is, basically. So
So
that's exactly what it is.
yes, and the ambience matters. That you had been kind of taken up by this house, which was abandoned, and it had an aura of its own, and you probably expected half of something like this appearing from the house, only it appeared next to your gate downstairs. But still, you
Absolutely.
responded to it exactly like you were supposed to respond, only the ghost, instead of, kind of fleeing or flying away, it actually fell on the road and made life difficult for you. But thank God there
Huh.
was no major damage.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly. That was what even I was thinking, that it could have been fatal,
mm,
but thank God everything went fine. And uh, again, it brought about a realization that what appears is often very misleading,
true,
and
true.
we are so carried away, or we are so influenced by our power of imagination. The
Absolutely.
fact that you just reiterated, that I was looking at the house, I kept wondering who's there
Mm,
or who are there, uh, and what lies beyond the walls and within the walls. And maybe I was deep
half
down expecting.
expecting. Yeah.
Yes. And I thought that uh, that white sari clad person, or the spirit, was a manifestation of that imagination, but it wasn't. And it was absolutely a person who was so scared and who has still not forgiven me. I just wish that she forgives me in this life, because I'm uh, really apologetic to what I have done to her. Very unknowingly,
I'm sure.
definitely.
So, I want to share something that I experienced a couple of months back myself. And at that time, it
Yes.
was not funny at all. It so happened that we were all working together in a large conference room kind of a thing. And it was very serious work, and people had begun to leave. And since I had reached late and I had my share of work to complete, so at one point in time, I was working completely alone. And this was a very large conference hall. I won't say a room.
Okay.
And I was sitting at a table, which had, and I had my back to almost the major part of the conference hall. And naturally, I was feeling that, and there was a terrace just behind the conference hall, and the swimming pool, and the wind was blowing, and I could hear a couple of creaking of the floorboards and stuff like that. So I would say I was feeling a little uneasy. I was not scared, but I was trying to concentrate on my work. And then I heard a little sound, ring, something like that. Just like as if, some anklet has gone off. So I thought that, no, I'm imagining things, and this is serious work, and I have to complete it, and then leave. And I was actually
Was
looking.
it well lit? The hall was well lit, or
I had a table lamp, and on the table that I was working at, and it was dimly lit, kind of the rest, because everybody had their own things, and there were tables laid out, and so I thought I had imagined it, or maybe it was a loose window pane or something, and then suddenly there was another kind of a sound, just like as if just as if when you put plates together, or something like that. So it just happened, and I was hesitant even to turn my head back and look over my shoulder, because I was scared, because I have heard so many incidents, people sharing their stories, although I'm a bit of a skeptic myself, but I was scared to turn back, and that is the beginning of an end, because as soon as one is scared, you've had it.
Yes.
So I could hardly concentrate on my work, so I was waiting for more, any sound or somebody coming back and breathing down my neck or something, and I would just take the lift and go down to the next floor maybe, or something like that, leaving everything behind. And the noise, because I wasn't moving, or it began to increase, and then I got up, because I couldn't tolerate it anymore. And with great courage, I looked back. And what do I see? I see little mice playing on leftovers of the plates that people had left behind,
Oh Lord!
Tiny mice. So they were making all the noise, and here was a human who was maybe 1,000 the size of a mouse, and was literally scared out of her skin. So this is because we are always expecting something to happen, I guess.
Exactly. We are conditioned that way.
Yes, and the setting, whenever we are alone, and because it was maybe an entire floor was left to me, and the wind that was blowing, but the mice were out to play, and they didn't consider me to be the cat at all. So viewers, we do get caught in our imaginations many a time. So this was an episode to just do a reality check, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I hope you've enjoyed this session. And keep subscribing to us, keep listening to us, and keep listening to us, and keep sharing and spreading the word. Stay connected.